Hey, and welcome back to the Post-Faith Path. My name is Josh, and today I want to talk to you about how I felt while going through the deconversion process. When I was dissecting everything that I believed and trying to figure out if it was worth believing and what it was exactly that I did believe. So it seems to me that no matter what our stories are, no matter why we start the deconstruction process, that there are some feelings, some things that we all experience. So in my story, I did not have a crisis of faith that brought me to start to deconstruct. I didn't have a family member die or anything happen that was traumatic. I simply was reading my Bible and asking questions and trying to figure out the answers to those questions. So many of you have had negative experiences that have brought you to the place where you are now. And I hope that I can help ease some of what you're feeling, but I'm also quite aware that I cannot speak directly to what you're feeling. All of our stories are different. So the first feeling that I felt was fear. When Christianity, and in particular the Bible, started to unravel, I had no idea where this was going. It was the fear of the unknown, which is one of those reasons why religion exists in the first place. But it was religion itself which had me fearful. The unraveling of what I had believed for 35 years, 36 years. At 45 years old, Christianity was a core part of my identity. And I had no idea who I was going to be after this, if I did in fact deconvert. So that fear you're feeling, you may be feeling it for different reasons than I did, but that fear is normal. It's okay. The second thing that I felt was a loss of reality. Again, because of who I was Josh the Christian. Everybody knew I was a Christian. I was in the army and everybody knew that I was a Christian. I wasn't evangelical towards them. I wasn't trying to convert them, but they knew where I stood. And again, my whole reality had shattered. Everything that I believed about the world was gone. Or during the process, it was falling away very quickly. And when you start to question reality itself, it's quite unsettling. You've been grounded for ever how long within this framework of reality, and now that framework's gone. Albert Camus calls it the feeling of the absurd, when something happens to shatter your reality that feeling of being untethered, of floating, of not knowing where you were going to wind up is very much normal. What you're feeling is normal. And the third thing I felt was curiosity. I wondered how far this actually went. I wondered how I could have been deceived by myself for 45 years. How it's just amazing how closed-minded you can become while thinking you're very open-minded, that once you already think you have the answers, you shut the door. You have the answers. Why look anywhere else? Why entertain the questions that others pose and ask about Christianity, other than, hey, well, if you don't believe it, you're going to go to hell. Now, I was never that blunt, but isn't that the in the back of our minds as Christians? Isn't that always there? Well, they're just not saved. They're going to hell. But the further down the rabbit hole I went, the more and more curious I became. So I hope that that's where you're at. That if you're in the middle of your deconversion, you're deconstructing your faith, that you have gotten to the point of curiosity. And I'll tell you this, for me, the curiosity was much stronger than the fear. And the curiosity helped drive me forward while I was feeling that loss of reality, that it drove me towards, there's got to be something out there that I can grasp onto as truth. And I'll give you a bonus. And this is tied to the curiosity. And I didn't truly feel this until I had come out the other side. But that is, I felt freedom. I felt like I was finally free. Free to think for myself. Free to ask hard questions and look for my own answers. Freedom is a wonderful thing. And as I told a commenter on my last video who expressed that they were in the midst of a crisis of faith, the sun will come up after the dark night. Soren Kierkegaard called it the dark night of the soul. Now, he was a Christian, but he was very much against the church. But I think that is an apt description. Of course, as an atheist now, I haven't settled on what I believe about us having a soul, but that is a very apt description. The dark night of the soul does have a sunrise in the morning. For different people, it takes a little different amounts of time to get through the dark night of the soul, but there is another side. So if you're going through deconstruction right now, if you're on the verge of deconversion, I want to tell you that what you're feeling is normal. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. Those are normal human emotions to the process that you're going through. So hang in there. You got this. And know that while you may be physically alone, there are thousands, tens of thousands, millions of us who are standing right there with you. That is quite the cloud of witnesses. So know that you're okay. You will make it through this, and the sun will rise. May not be tomorrow, but it will rise.